Welcome to another installment of Test Chamber. I'm Matt Miller, joined by Ben Reeves.
Here I am.
Jeff Markifava.
I'm here too.
Here we all are, and we're about to play Galak-Z, the Dimensional. Mm-hmm. And my first question to you, Ben, is what is the Dimensional?
That's a good question.
Yeah?
I'm halfway through the game right now.
Okay.
And I have no idea.
Have you discovered the Dimensional?
Yeah.
What dimension are you in?
You're in some, other dimension. I guess you start out the game sort of scattered. Well, I mean, this is the intro, so we could...
This is awesome.
This is how it starts. Actually, they have, each season has its own little intro like this, and they're all pretty cool so far.
Did you ever watch Robotech?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that.
This is instantly Robotech-esque.
The style they were going for.
Oh, it's so
Even
great.
the ship. The ship looks awesome.
I'm not going to lie. This is one of the indie games I've been most excited to play for months and months. It looks so cool. It's based and such an unusual sort of take on the idea. I mean, it's basically kind of a roguelike, right?
Yeah, basically. It's 17-bit. Who's the guys who did Shogun? What was the name
Skulls
of it?
of the
Skulls
Shogun.
of the Shogun. There you go. Which was more of a strategy game.
Totally.
So this is a very different kind of game for them, but it's a fun, basically kind of arcadey shooter meets roguelike, like you just said.
Yeah.
And I know Jeffum's talked to them a bunch.
Yeah, you can skip the
so
tutorial.
far, it's been really cool.
That's great. So, right when we get into it, I want you to hop into the pause screen, because just the pause screen kind of cracks me up.
Did I already see that? Oh, I can't pause right now.
Well, we'll get to it eventually.
It's the thing you unlock is the pause screen.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's overtones of Robotech going on here, but it's really that sort of wider genre of sort of 80s anime space fighter stuff with cluster missiles and weird overwrought characters reacting exuberantly to when things happen to them out in space.
So this is him entering the ship for the first time. If you die halfway through a season, it sort of gets reset and you start back at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
So you have to get through an entire season, which sort of unlocks the next season and sort of gauge your progress in that way.
So
But you still have to go back through the process of collecting your items and weapons that power up your ship.
Got it.
And that's the roguelike element.
So is it fair to say that it's sort of like a roguelike, but with 5 distinct sort of paths you can go through? Is each season kind of its own path? Or its own sort of roguelike level or whatever?
It has its own... well, it's weird because each level's randomly generated anyway.
Right.
But there's sort of a new element they add
In each season?
So the second season they add the mech, which was news that came out last week, which we probably won't see. But the mech's cool because you fly around and you have this sword, so it does a lot of close range damage.
Oh, cool.
And you can also grapple enemies or grapple, say, asteroids and then throw them at other enemies.
Jeff, you've done Ben, you're working on our review right now. But Jeff, you've done a lot of preview coverage on this game for us. But I think you've had a little bit of time to dig into this opening
So
section.
Real quick before you do that, Jeff, there was those crash coins which you earn while playing the game.
Yeah,
those you kind of keep.
I was playing a little bit before we did this video, and I collected a bunch of them, and then I died, and so those kind of carry over into your next playthrough, and they'll give you the
kind
salvage.
of a roguelite element there.
Yeah. Give you some salvage. And here's some of the upgrades we can get.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are ones that you can permanently unlock power up, which will then show up over there for you to purchase. So you're kind of building up a library as you go along.
Can you go multiple plays without spending, and then spend it all at once?
No, because you'll lose your salvage every time that you die, and the crash coins only count for your next playthrough.
Got it.
As well.
So I bought a couple of them here, and maybe we'll buy increased thrusters too.
So these are things that are just going to apply to this playthrough, or
till I die.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or I beat the season. So you can see here is the different ways you can upgrade your shooting capabilities, which we don't have a lot right now, unfortunately. But
yeah, so that one kind of narrows down the cone of
there's
fire.
the muzzle. Here, you have different bullet shapes.
Yeah.
Here's like the pattern, like you can have auto fire or burst fire. This is cool too because I unlocked one recently that's just like a fire element. So when I hit enemies, they set on fire in my game. And this is cool too because this is like a special attribute of your bullet. This bounces off walls.
Like it.
So you get a variety, a wide mix of variety each time you play through. You collect like random upgrades for your ship, and you can outfit.
And presumably right now, even though we're getting lots of like weird messages, what's really happening now is they're generating a world for us, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to be different from the last time you guys played.
Right, yeah, and even when you die, say you restart that level, the first level is going to be completely different from the last time you played. Oh, so that's another thing you can do. You can use those crash coins. If you have 5 of them, you can, say you're on episode 4 of the season, you could use 5 crash coins, spend them to replay that episode again. So you have a little bit of opportunity in case you like screw up to retry.
Have another shot at it.
Although you have to like collect your items again.
Right. So Jeff, what I was going to ask you before, because you'd done some previous coverage, one of the things that I had encountered with the brief times I've had a chance to play this game pre-release is that the control mechanics take a while to get used to.
Yeah. You see it and you think it's going to just be a twin stick shooter.
Right.
And it totally isn't.
Right. Because like right now when we see Ben's playing right now and he's sort of drifting around, that's not actually him using the stick to move himself that way necessarily. It's that he's like let go of the stick and he's still, his sort of momentum is still carrying him.
Yep.
Yeah, you control the direction of your ship with with the left stick.
Yeah.
But then your thrusters are R2.
Right.
And you can back up with L2.
Yeah, that's the
But then you have a
thrusters.
side boost, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of just like different, I don't know, mechanics to controlling, like different button presses you're going to have to do, which kind of becomes, second nature after a while.
Yeah.
Because you can like flip and then go backwards, which I like doing, or you can kind of do circles around people and strafe them.
And once you get a hang of it, it is really satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
But it takes a little while.
Yeah, I mean, when I played it, I mean, I probably have played a grand total of 15 minutes of the game at a couple of different times that we've had a chance to play it before release. And while it was really fun, I didn't feel like that 15 minutes was enough for me to feel really comfortable necessarily with the controls, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It's sort of like built into the game as part of the challenge.
Yeah.
Is mastering this unusual but frankly very interesting control experience.
So I just picked up an upgrade, you can see, so that makes my shots expand.
How long will that last?
It's an upgrade, so like
for the rest of
the rest of the
playthrough, until I die or do something else.
One of the other things I've always really appreciated about this game, and they've done increasing work since I've seen it last to make it even more cool, is this kind of constant presence of your kind of anime-esque character down in the bottom left. And it's probably hard for you, Ben, to see it too much when you've got your eyes on the action. But I've been sort of watching this guy as he, engages in battle, and he's got different animations for when he's shooting or when he's taking hits, and I don't know. I think it adds a kind of a fun element.
Yeah, and they pop up for the enemies for, like the actual, not these like aliens, but if you go after another guy in a ship, he will pop up on the right side and kind of have dialogue back and forth.
Yeah, so there's a little bit more of kind of like a narrative quality to things, right?
The world is actually pretty cool too. It's like cool to look at, but then there's a lot of like elements to the world that you can use in combat. So you probably saw this thing. I was driving through it and it slows me down.
Yeah.
That affects enemies as well. So if I'm able to like pop that when an enemy's nearby, they'll run into it and get slowed down, and that might help me out. Or there's spikes on a wall or lava, and you can like hit it and throw it up in the enemy's face, and that might kill them. And then even just the different enemies, like different enemy groups, will attack each other. So like these guys aren't friends with there's spikes with the aliens, so they'll fight each other.
So for people who are probably only going to see this one playthrough of ours here, how different is this? I mean, you've played this level before, right?
Well, I've played episode
season
of the
one,
season,
right?
but yeah, this is a different layout. It's all randomly generated.
And so are the enemy encounters roughly similar, or do you always come into a certain big space here that there's going to be a fight against this particular enemy, or is it more varied than that?
Yeah, here, I'll show you the map. So there's these things that are floating out in space, which are kind of like, they're not really planets, they're more like asteroids or something that you fly up into. And everything else is just space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the size of that thing will change
so
too
this
as well.
is the thing that's randomly generated, like the size and the shape. And even like what it's made out of. It might be an asteroid. It might be like a giant dreadnought.
Okay,
ship
cool.
in some instances. So that's pretty cool. And the layout's completely different. So
yeah, and like the
upgrade.
number and types of enemies, is always different as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, so this little circle, oh gosh, I was going to try to sneak up on those guys and I failed.
That did not work.
Yeah. So there's a little like light blue circle above my ship, which you can see when I'm flying around.
Mm-hmm.
That's the noise I'm making.
Okay.
And enemies will be alerted to me if I'm, touch that circle around their ship.
Kind of Mark the Ninja-esque, right?
Yeah, but so I can go and I can use my momentum if I cut my boosters and keep coasting and then coast towards an enemy without alerting them.
Oh, cool.
Unless they're like looking right at me,
Sure.
So like this guy.
Do they always have that cone of vision in front of them?
Yeah.
So you can actually like see which direction they're coming
Yeah.
in.
The aliens don't, but these other, like mercenary ships do. It's fun. I mean, the controls. Your ship is a little bit floaty, kind of slidey, which is actually kind of fun when you get used to the controls to control your ship and like boost around enemies, or like I was saying, like cut your engine, sneak around, coast past them, and then like come in and shoot at them.
Certainly gives the game a different flavor than just it's a twin stick shooter.
Oh yeah, yeah. It doesn't even really feel like a twin stick shooter because you're not using both sticks,
Right.
even though it has that look.
I also like. I think they've gone out of their way to add both things in the world that are dangerous obstacles and other things that just give you a sense of almost being like a bumper car, right? Some of this stuff you're banging into the edges of asteroids, and it's not like the end of the world that's happening, right?
Yeah, you can run into asteroids and other things, and like that doesn't hurt your ship.
Right.
You just have to worry about enemies hurting your ship. So that's a cue that I'm entering a new area. Oh.
Yeah, so that little blue line, is that sort of what's progressing you, your path? Oh god, those cluster missiles are so great.
Using missiles to kill guys.
So in order to progress through the level, you're having to find those like blue lines to get to, basically?
Yeah, that's the start of a new planet thing.
Sure.
So you can see that's where I entered there.
Yeah.
And then those like blueprints and other things show up on your map as the green, which is nice. So that's a blueprint, which means unlocked now at the ship. Next time, or sometimes you'll find that guy scattered here in the world, and you can like buy stuff like mid mission, which is nice.
Yeah.
But he doesn't always show up. It's not super consistent. But yeah, this is a fun game. Like it's very different each time you play it, which is nice. And takes a bit of skill just getting used to how the ship works. But once you get used to it, I don't know, it's just fun to run around and shoot things. And then boost and then go and shoot more things.
And you said in later levels you have access to changing into like a mech thing.
Yeah.
Watch out, Reeves.
I'm trying to get him up there. So if I shoot this... Oh, gosh.
Oh, that wasn't good.
That wasn't a good idea.
Lit yourself on fire.
If I shoot that lava, lava bubbles come up.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can like lure enemies into that.
Or yourself into it.
Or you can lure yourself into it because colors.
Because colors. Well, that's awesome. Did I notice you have like a kind of a deployable shield thing that you've got going on as well? Or is that just like when you get hit? How does your protection for your ship work?
It recharges.
Okay.
So right now you can see down at the bottom, the red bar is my health.
Yep.
The blue bar is my shield. I have 2. When it gets taken down, that'll recharge after a few seconds, but the health will not recharge.
Got it.
Yeah,
And
so it's
presumably,
very Halo-esque.
Yeah, sure. And there's like upgrades, presumably to both health and and shields.
So here's the guy I was talking about. You can buy stuff mid-mission.
Oh, nice.
And he has more stuff than when I last saw him.
And we know he's tough because he's got a Band-Aid on his nose.
Yeah, he's not
the
messing
toughest.
around.
I cut myself shaving this morning, so that's why I'm wearing a Band-Aid.
Yeah, on his nose.
Yeah.
He's so tough. He's got to shave his nose.
Oh, this is the fire upgrade, which I love.
Are these different, like the available upgrades? Have you noticed in different playthroughs, or are they?
Yeah, they'll change. They're like randomly selected as well.
That's cool.
Right.
So you can kind of see some new things as you go through.
You can't always just build like the same, build out every time.
And are there other ships? Or are you always using this kind of your main ship?
This is your main ship, as far as I know.
Okay.
Unless there's a secret later on.
Sure. Up to where you're at in the game, anyway.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I'm only on season 3 right now.
Well, very exciting. I'm really happy to see that, that this game is finally out, because I've been looking forward to it for a long time, but also that 17-bit continues to branch out in new directions. I think that they are a really talented studio. I sometimes feel like Skulls of the Shogun was a great game that maybe didn't get as much widespread attention as it deserved for all the innovative approaches to strategy that it attempted.
Yeah, it sort of flew under the radar. I feel like people didn't talk about it enough.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically sort of like tactics combat, but with this completely different approach to how it was handling movement and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like with this game, we can safely conclude that 17-bit is very interested in doing that and taking established genres and trying to do something different, with them. Yeah. So it's great that the White Republic's going to get a chance to check this out. This game is out very soon, right?
Comes out tomorrow.
That's great.
For PlayStation. It's coming to PC, but I don't think they've announced a release date for that yet.
Excellent. Well, I think we can probably close things out then. Thanks for walking us through here. And thanks for everybody out there for watching. This has been Test Chamber, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
You did a good job, Reeves. You killed all those bugs.
Go play this game. Not this copy, because I'm playing it.